Hey guys, tonight we're slowing things down. Way down. We're trading our busy, anxiety-filled human lives for an existence that is essentially one long, lazy Sunday afternoon, interrupted only by mortal peril. You're going to be born into a world where the highest virtue is patience, the greatest skill is holding on, and the most exciting part of your day is deciding which leaf to chew next. You're going to be a sloth. Your world is a sea of green, swaying gently in the humid air, 100 feet above the ground. It's a life of absolute zen, right up until the moment a giant eagle punches you out of a tree. That's right, you probably won't survive this. The odds are stacked against you from the moment you're born. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. It's a simple click for you, but it makes a huge difference for the channel. And while you're at it, post your location and local time in the comments. It's always fascinating to see where everyone is tuning in from as we drift off. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your first sensation isn't sight or sound or even smell, it's grip. Before you are anything else, you are a creature that holds on. You are born wet, sticky, and shockingly small, barely 10 ounces fitting neatly into a human hand. You've just emerged into the damp, warm air of the Central American cloud forest, and your first, panicked, reflexive action is to clutch. Your fingers, already tipped with surprisingly long, curved claws, find purchase in a landscape of thick, coarse fur. This fur is your universe. It is warm, it smells musty and green, like damp earth and crushed leaves, and it is moving. Your mother, a brown-throated three-toed sloth, barely registered your birth. She is, as always, hanging upside down from a thick branch in a towering cecropia tree. You're born into this inverted world, and the pull of gravity is the first law you will ever learn. It is a harsh, unforgiving teacher. To let go is to fall, a silent 100-foot plummet to the dark, unfamiliar forest floor. You will not survive that fall, and so you cling, your entire tiny body trembling with the effort, your life reduced to this single, desperate task. You open your eyes. The world is a smear, a blurry, vibrant, almost painful green, punctuated by shafts of white light breaking through the canopy. You are, for all practical purposes, blind. Sloths are born with a rare genetic condition called achromatopsia, meaning you have no cone cells in your eyes. You cannot see colour. Your entire life will be lived in shades of grey, brown, and murky green. On top of that, your vision is incredibly poor. Anything more than 5 feet away is just a vague, shifting shape, a suggestion of a thing rather than the thing itself. Your mother's face, just inches from yours, is a fuzzy map of warmth and soft fur. This profound lack of sight, which would be a death sentence for almost any other mammal, is, for you, simply normal. It's fine. You don't need to see the jaguar padding on the forest floor because you will never be there, or almost never. You don't need to see the Harpy Eagle perched 100 yards away, because by the time you do, it will be far too late. Your hearing is equally dull, muffled, as if you're listening to the world from underwater. The distant bark of a howler monkey, the sharp call of a toucan, the constant 6-legged thrum of insects, it all blends into a single humid drone. Your primary senses are touch and smell. You press your nose into your mother's fur. It doesn't just smell like her. It smells like a miniature mobile swamp. It's tangy with algae, earthy with fungi, and crawling with other things. Beetles, mites, and even moths have made their home in this dense, damp thicket of hair. Your mother is not just your parent. She's a living, breathing, slowly moving apartment complex. It's not the most glamorous nursery, but it's home. You're hungry. You fumble, blind and weak against her stomach. You find a nipple, and your first taste of milk is rich, warm, and fatty. It's all you will consume for months. Your mother, for her part, is a model of benign neglect. She is not a helicopter parent. She is perhaps a sentient hammock. Her job is not to nurture you in the active mammalian sense you might expect. Her job is to hang, to be a stable platform, and to occasionally, very occasionally, move to a new cluster of leaves. And when she moves, it is terrifying. For the first few days she is largely still recovering, but eventually she must eat. She releases her grip with one impossibly long arm, her 3 curved claws unhooking from the bark. She reaches. The movement is glacial, a study in slow-motion elegance. But to you, a 10-ounce baby clinging to her chest, it feels like an earthquake. Your entire world tilts. The steady branch she was on is now gone, replaced by empty, terrifying air. You instinctively tighten your grip, your tiny claws digging so hard into her skin that you likely draw blood. She doesn't seem to notice. Her hide is thick. She is built for this. You, however, are not. You are the weak link. Your one job, your only job, is to not let go. The scholarly debate on your birth is a quiet one, whispered in academic papers. Scientists are still debating whether all sloth mothers give birth high in the canopy, an act that seems absurdly risky. You, the baby, must be born, find your grip and secure yourself, all while dangling 100 feet in the air. One theory suggests that some mothers may descend to lower, thicker branches, or even sit upright, to minimise the risk of their single, precious offspring becoming a tiny, tragic smear on the forest floor. But observations are almost impossible to come by. The jungle keeps its secrets. Your birth, high in this Cecropia, remains an unfilmed, unverified miracle of grip strength. Your life settles into a routine, if such a word can be applied to an existence so static. Your day is divided into 2 states, sleeping and, well, resting while awake. You sleep for nearly 15 hours, curled into a tight ball on your mother's stomach, your head tucked between her front legs. The other 9 hours are spent in a hazy, half-aware state. You nurse. You feel the vibration of her body as she chews. She is an herbivore, but a ridiculously specialised one. She eats the leaves of this tree, and only this tree. Cecropia leaves are your destiny. They are tough, fibrous, and most importantly contain almost no energy. They are also mildly toxic. This diet is the central fact of your life. It is the key that unlocks the entire mystery of why you're so slow. You can't afford to be fast. You're not lazy. You're an absolute master of energy conservation. Your entire biology is a monument to doing as little as possible. Your internal body temperature is incredibly low and fluctuates wildly, more like a reptile's than a mammal's. This saves a tremendous amount of energy. Your digestion is a process that should be measured by calendars, not clocks. It will take you up to a month, 30 days, to digest a single leaf. Your stomach is a complex, multi-chambered fermentation vat, working tirelessly to extract every last pitiful calorie from the fibrous pulp. Because your food is so poor, you can't waste energy on things like thinking. Your brain is small. You don't need to be clever. You don't need to solve puzzles or recognize patterns. You need to do 3 things: eat, rest, and not fall. Your life is a simple, elegant equation of survival. For now, you don't even have to do the eat part. You just drink milk and hold on. You watch the blurry green world go by. You feel the occasional spray of rain, which your mother's coarse outer hair repels, while her soft inner hair keeps you warm. You are, in this moment, perfectly safe. You're a tiny, specialized, color-blind creature, clinging to a mobile ecosystem, living on borrowed energy. You're an exercise in patience. You have nowhere to be, nothing to do, and your entire future depends on your ability to do absolutely nothing but hang on. For 6 months, your mother is your anchor, your transport, and your dining room. You're a passive accessory, a furry, breathing ornament she carries with her. But as you grow, a new, alien feeling begins to stir. Curiosity? No, that's too strong a word. It's more like a faint biological nudge. A script written in your DNA is prompting you to reach. Your arms, once so weak, are now stronger. Your claws, which have been permanently hooked into your mother's fur, feel an itch to grasp something new. Something wooden. Your first steps are a lesson in terror. You're still clinging to your mother's chest as she hangs from a branch. You tentatively unhook one hand. The sensation is dreadful. Half of your grip is gone. You're suddenly acutely aware of the 100 feet of empty air between you and the ground. You feel the pull of your own weight, a tiny, terrifying pendulum, but you reach. Your blurry, colorblind eyes make out a shape next to your mother, the branch she's on. It's a slightly different shade of grey-green. You stretch. your arm unfolding like a slow-motion telescope. Your claws touch the bark. It's rough, solid, and wonderfully stable. You hook on, and there you hang for perhaps an hour, suspended between your mother and the tree, a tiny, living bridge. You have achieved your first independent grip. Your mother, your driving instructor for the slowest car in the world, offers no encouragement. She's probably asleep. You slowly, painstakingly bring your other arm over. You unhook from her fur, a moment of pure, heart-stopping panic, and for the first time, you're supporting your own weight. You're hanging, fully independent, upside down. This is the position you will maintain for approximately 90% of your entire life. Your world, this single, magnificent Cecropia tree, is a vertical continent. It is everything. It is your grocery store, your bedroom, and your highway system. You will likely be born in this tree, live your entire life in it, and if you're lucky, die in it. Your mother's home range might consist of this tree and perhaps 2 or 3 others nearby. This isn't a territory, it's a studio apartment with a leafy ceiling. And now you must learn to navigate it. Moving is not climbing, not as a monkey or a squirrel understands it. You're not climbing up, you're progressing along. You move by hanging, not by supporting your weight. Your arms and legs are not pillars, they are hangers. Your muscles are bizarrely specialized. You have almost no fast-twitch muscle fibers, the kind that allows for a quick sprint or a sudden jump. Instead, you have slow-twitch fibers, built for endurance, for relentless low-power holding. Your entire muscular system is designed to lock into place to become a living clamp. It takes more energy for you to let go than it does to hold on. Your hands and feet are not hands and feet. They are biological grappling hooks. You have 2 or 3, in your case, 3, long, permanently curved claws that fuse with the bones of your digits. You can't open your hand flat. You can't pick up a piece of fruit. You can only hook, grip, and hang. So you begin to move. You're hanging from a branch. To move forward, you unhook one front arm. You reach forward, your arm extending, your body swinging gently. Thunk. Your claws hit the wood and find a grip. Then you unhook the back leg on the same side, swing it forward, and thunk. Then the other side. You're a 4-limbed pendulum, pulling yourself hand over hand, foot over foot, through a 3-dimensional upside-down world. Your top speed, on a good day, with a strong wind at your back, which you won't feel, is about 6 feet per minute. You are quite literally moving at a snail's pace, a very, very sleepy snail. But here is the miracle of your design. While this would be exhausting for any other mammal, for you, it is effortless. Your body is built for this inverted life. A key biological fact about your species is that your internal organs are anchored in place. Your liver and your massive multi-chambered stomach, heavy with a fermenting slurry of leaves, are literally attached to your lower ribs by strong fibrous bands. This means that when you hang upside down, your heavy guts don't press down on your diaphragm and lungs. You can breathe easily. A human, hanging by their knees for this long, would struggle to inhale. You don't even think about it. It is your natural state. You also have a truly bizarre party trick. A quirky tidbit is your neck. You, a 3-toed sloth, have 9 cervical vertebrae. A giraffe has 7. A human has 7. A tiny mouse has 7. Almost every mammal on Earth is built to the same 7 vertebrae plan, but you have 9. This gives your head a shocking, almost supernatural range of motion. While your body hangs, locked in place, you can turn your head 270 degrees. You can, while hanging upside down, turn your head completely around and look right side up at the branch above you. It's a bit unsettling. Like something from a low-budget horror film, but it's incredibly useful. It allows you to scan your immediate area for the only 2 things that matter, edible leaves and immediate threats, without moving your body, which, as we've established, is a major production. Your blurry eyes survey your kingdom. The top of the Cecropia tree is the new growth, the sun-drenched leaves that are tender and most nutritious. This is the prime real estate. The middle section is older, the leaves tougher. The lower, darker sections are just scaffolding, the highways you use to get from one good branch to another. Scientists are still debating whether this extreme slowness, this utter specialization, is a brilliant evolutionary strategy or a desperate dead-end gamble. One theory suggests you have simply evolved out of the arms race. You cannot run from the jaguar. You cannot fight the Harpy Eagle. So you have chosen not to play. You have bet your entire species' survival on a single idea: camouflage. You're not an animal. You're a strange moving lump on a branch. You're a patch of moss. You're a termite nest. You're anything but food. And for this gamble to pay off, you must be perfectly still. You must be silent. You must be, in every meaningful way, a part of the tree. Your mother starts to move away from you. She doesn't shoo you off. She just leaves. She inches her way along a branch, and you, hanging on your own, are faced with a choice: follow or stay. You feel a pang of your first, and perhaps only real emotion: hunger. The milk bar is leaving. You sigh, a tiny, almost inaudible huff, and you unhook your right arm. You reach, you pull, you unhook your left. You begin the long, slow, arduous journey of following your mother, your entire universe slowly shifting, one leaf at time. You follow, driven by the pure, ancient need for your mother's milk. That rich, fatty fuel is the only thing that has built your tiny body, the only thing that has given you the strength to hang, to move, to exist. But the milk bar is closing. You're 6 months old now, larger, heavier. When you nudge your face against her stomach, she seems indifferent. She shifts, just slightly, turning her furry back to you. The message is not cruel, it is simply biological. It is time for you to eat what she eats. It is time for you to eat the world. You hang beside her, your stomach emitting a faint, hollow ache. You're starving, but in a slow-motion way. It's a dull, pervasive emptiness, not a sharp, desperate pang. You watch her. Her blurry grey-green form is motionless, except for her jaw. She is chewing. Always she is chewing. Slowly, rhythmically, with a sideways grinding motion. Her head is turned towards a cluster of leaves on the Cecropia branch. She reaches out, that familiar glacial extension of her arm, but this time her hooked claws don't grab the branch. They snag a leaf stem. She pulls it to her mouth. You, her perfect tiny mimic, do the same. You reach. Your own claws, now formidable, hook the edge of a wide green leaf. You pull it toward you. You open your mouth. Your lips, which are tough and leathery, grasp the foliage. You bite. Your teeth are strange. You don't have the sharp incisors of a rodent or the tearing canines of a predator. You have simple, peg-like molars that are in a state of continuous slow growth. They are perfect for grinding, and grind you must. The leaf is appalling. It's tough, fibrous, and tastes bitter. It's like chewing on a piece of damp leather that's been sprinkled with crushed aspirin. There is no juicy, sweet reward. There is no burst of sugary energy. There is only fibre and a faint green taste that is more chemical than culinary. But your mother is eating it, and you are starving, so you chew, and chew, and chew. You grind the leaf into a pulpy green slurry, and finally you swallow. This is the leaf eater's curse. This single, unappetizing bite is the decision that will define and dictate every single second of the rest of your life. You have just eaten a Cecropia leaf. Biologically, this is one of the worst food sources imaginable. First, it has almost no calories. It is pure structural fibre. Second, to protect itself, the Cecropia tree, like many tropical plants, laces its leaves with toxic secondary compounds. These are chemicals designed to make the leaf as unpalatable and indigestible as possible. You are, in effect, eating a mild poison. You cannot run, you cannot fight, you cannot even think very hard, and it is all because of this leaf. Your entire body, your entire evolutionary strategy, is a response to this terrible diet. You're not lazy, you're a metabolic marvel, a creature designed to run on fumes. The leaf pulp you just swallowed has begun a journey that will take up to 30 days, a full month. This is a mainstream biological fact. You have one of the slowest digestive systems of any mammal on Earth. Your stomach is not a simple acid sac. It is a massive, complex, multi-chambered fermentation vat. It is your own internal compost heap, and it is so enormous that it, along with its contents, can make up a full third of your entire body weight. You are at all times mostly just a walking stomach. When you swallowed that leaf, it didn't go to a place to be digested by you. It went to a place to be processed by an entire ecosystem, of symbiotic bacteria and protozoa that lives in your gut. This internal sludge is what actually breaks down the cellulose, fermenting it, unlocking the tiny, pitiful amount of energy stored within the fibre. You inherited this starter culture from your mother. One theory suggests this is why you spend so much time clinging to her, why you are exposed to her saliva, her feces, her everything. You are being inoculated with the microscopic life that will allow you to survive. Scientists are still debating whether this gut flora is so specialised that a sloth raised in one type of tree, say a cecropia, would be physically incapable of digesting the leaves of a different tree. You can't just move and try the local cuisine. You're locked into your menu. This absurdly slow process means you live on an energetic knife edge. You extract just enough calories from your food to power 3 basic activities. 1. Hanging. 2. Slowly digesting more food. 3. Growing fur. That's it. Everything else is a luxury you cannot afford. Muscle mass? Too expensive to maintain. You have about 30% less muscle than a cat of the same size. Your strength isn't from muscle power, it's from the specialised locking design of your tendons. You're strong in the way a zip tie is strong, maintaining a constant warm mammalian body temperature, an outrageous waste of energy. Your internal temperature is shockingly low and fluctuates wildly with the outside world, just like a reptile's. At night, in the cool, damp air, your core temperature can plummet to 24 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. You are, in this state, barely alive. You're in a torpor, a mini hibernation. When the first blurry grey shafts of morning light hit the canopy, you must physically drag your body, hand over hand, to a patch of sunlight. You must bask like a lizard on a rock, just to warm your blood enough to get your gut bacteria moving again. You are, in essence, a solar-powered compost bin. And thinking is the most expensive luxury. Your brain is tiny for your body size. You do not waste precious leaf calories on abstract thought, or problem-solving, or even curiosity. Your world is simple. Is this a leaf? Eat it. Is this a branch? Hold it. Is this a shadow from above? Freeze. That is the entirety of your cognitive world. Here is a quirky tidbit about your metabolic state. Your stomach is always full. Because digestion takes a month, you must keep the fermentation vat topped up. You eat, you rest, you eat. You are a slow-motion grazer. This means you never feel full in the way a human does after a big meal, and you never feel starving in the way a wolf does. Your default state is a constant, mild, vegetative satiation, punctuated by the dull biological urge to just add one more leaf to the pile. You chew another leaf and another. You are stocking your internal furnace for the long, slow burn. You are now a part of the system. You have accepted the curse. Your life will not be one of action, but one of profound cellular patience. You are a creature that has traded speed for stillness, power for persistence. You are, in your own upside-down, slow-motion way, a master of survival. You have figured out how to live on almost nothing, and as you hang there, digesting, basking, and existing, something else is figuring out how to live on you. You are a master of energy conservation. You have traded speed, strength, and smarts for a life of profound metabolic stillness. You have become so much a part of the tree that you are less an animal and more a feature of the landscape. And the landscape is beginning to grow on you, literally. Your fur is not like a cat's fur, sleek and clean. It's not like a dog's oily and water-repellent. Your fur is a jungle. It is a dense, coarse, and surprisingly deep mat of hair. And it is, almost all of the time, damp. You live in a cloud forest. The air is 90% humidity, and a fine, misty rain is your constant companion. Your fur soaks up this moisture like a sponge, and it never truly, fully dries. You are a walking, hanging, upside-down swamp. And swamps, as you know, are breeding grounds for life. The first resident to move in is algae. This is the mainstream biological fact that defines your appearance. Tiny, single-celled organisms, spores of Trichophilus welkeri, float through the humid air and land on your damp, stationary form. They find purchase in the microscopic cracks and grooves of your hair shafts. And here, in the warm, wet, sun-drenched canopy, they bloom. A vibrant green, algal film begins to grow over your entire body. Your shoulders, your back, your head. All of it slowly, inevitably, turns a shade of pond scum. This isn't a stain, it's a living coat. You're no longer a brown-furred mammal, you're a mossy, green-hued creature. You are, in a very real sense, photosynthesizing. Not you, of course. You're still running on that single month-old leaf, but your fur is. You're a solar-powered fur coat. This green tinge is the greatest gamble of your life, the masterstroke of your do-nothing strategy. You're camouflaged. You're not just hiding in the trees, you are the tree. You look like a lichen-covered branch. You look like a termite nest. You look like a bundle of old leaves. To a passing predator, a Harpy Eagle scanning the canopy from a mile above, your outline is broken, your form indistinct. You're just more green. You've become invisible by becoming an ecosystem. But the algae are just the tenants on the ground floor. The ecosystem in your fur is far more complex and frankly a little disgusting. Along with the algae, fungi take root. Over 80 different species of fungi have been found living in the fur of sloths like you. Some are just mildews, feeding on the dampness and the skin cells you slowly shed. But some are more active. Scientists are still debating whether these fungal colonies are just opportunistic squatters or part of a more complex symbiotic relationship. One theory suggests that some of these fungi may actually secrete chemicals that protect you from skin infections, parasites, and insect bites. Your fur, it turns out, might be its own pharmacy, actively fighting off the very things that are trying to live in it. It's a slow-motion, microscopic war, and it's happening all over your body, 24/7. And then there are the insects. Oh, the insects. Your fur is not just a garden, it's a city. It is a bustling six-legged metropolis of mites, ticks, and beetles. Most are tiny, scurrying through the dense forest of your hair, feeding on the algae, the fungi, or you. You can feel them. It's a constant low-grade background itch. A tickle here, a skittering there. You're too slow, too metabolically broke to waste energy on grooming. You can't scratch. You can't nibble. You can only endure. You're a living apartment building and your tenants are terrible. But the most famous and by far the strangest of all your residents is the sloth moth. This is the quirky or fringe tidbit, a story so bizarre it sounds like science fiction. A specific species of moth, the pyralid moth Cryptosis cholupi, has evolved to live only in the fur of a sloth. They are your permanent fluttering companions. As you hang there, a small grey-brown moth indistinguishable from the bark of a tree will crawl out from the depths of your fur, walk across your face, and perhaps take a sip of the moisture from your eye. You do not flinch. You do not care. It is just another part of the background hum of your life. These moths are born in your fur, they live their entire adult lives in your fur, they find mates in your fur, and most importantly, they die in your fur. Dozens, perhaps hundreds of these moths are living, breeding, and dying in the dense jungle of your back. But this presents a biological puzzle. Moths, as you may know, lay their eggs as caterpillars, and caterpillars need to eat. They do not eat algae, they eat, well, we'll get to that. How does a moth, living on a sloth, get its eggs to a food source? This is where the story gets truly, wonderfully weird, and it sets the stage for the single most dangerous, most terrifying, most important journey of your entire life. For now, you are just the mothership. You are the aircraft carrier. You are the mobile home for a civilization of moths that you carry on your back, and you stink. Let's be very clear about this. You do not have the musky animal smell of a deer or a fox. You have the rich, complex, overpowering odour of a compost heap that's been left in the rain. You reek of damp earth, rotting leaves, pungent fungi, musty algae, and the faint, sweet-sour smell of moth decomposition. It's an olfactory assault. But just like your green fur, your smell is your shield. A jaguar or an ocelot sniffing the air is hunting for the scent of meat. They are looking for the coppery tang of blood, the scent of warm fur. You smell like the forest floor. You smell like rot. You smell like nothing that is good to eat. You have weaponized your own hygiene, or rather your complete and total lack of it. So you hang, a living, breathing, photosynthesizing, stinking, itching island. You're a microcosm of the entire jungle. You carry a garden on your back and a zoo in your garden. You have become so still that the world has forgotten you are an animal and has simply started to build upon you, as if you were a rock, or a log, or a particularly slow-moving patch of earth. You are perfectly, beautifully, disgustingly camouflaged. A masterpiece of stillness and neglect. And all this life, this entire teeming, crawling, fluttering ecosystem you carry is waiting. It's waiting for you to do the one thing you dread. The one thing you must. It's waiting for you to go to the bathroom. You're a walking, stinking, photosynthesizing island. You're a masterpiece of stillness. But you're also a closed system, and every system has its limits. The leaf you ate a month ago, the one that tasted like aspirin and leather, its long 30-day journey is finally over. Your massive 4-chambered stomach has fermented every last pitiful calorie from it. Your impossibly long intestines have absorbed what they can, and now there is waste. It's a feeling that builds, not as a sharp, sudden urge, but as a slow, dull, internal pressure. It is the only thing in your life that happens on a schedule. Once a week, perhaps every 10 days, your body sounds a silent, non-negotiable alarm. The compost heap is full. The holding tank must be emptied. You cannot, like a monkey or a bird, simply let go, dropping your waste to the forest floor from the safety of your high branch. No, that would be too simple, too logical, too safe. You have a biological imperative, a deep, ancient, and utterly suicidal-sounding instinct. You must descend. You must go to the ground. This is the single most dangerous act of your entire life. Everything about you is designed to keep you in the canopy, to make you invisible, to blend you into the green. Now you must purposefully abandon your camouflage, leave your fortress, and expose yourself to a world you're not built for. You are a creature of the air, and you're about to go to land. The journey begins. You feel the heavy, uncomfortable pressure in your lower gut. You sigh, that tiny, almost inaudible huff, and you begin to move. But this is not your normal, graceful, upside-down, hand-over-hand movement. To go down the trunk of a tree, you must turn over. You must become right side up. You grip the branch, your body tense. You perform a slow, clumsy, 180-degree roll. You're now clinging to the branch with your belly down, your back to the sky. It feels wrong. Your organs, no longer supported by their special fibrous bands, remember those, now press heavily on your diaphragm. Breathing is suddenly a little harder. Your muscles, designed for pulling, are now pushing. It's awkward, it's inefficient, and it costs a fortune in calories. But you must. You find the main trunk of your cecropia tree. It's a massive vertical highway. You begin to climb down head first. Your claws, perfectly shaped for hooking onto a branch, are clumsy at grabbing the flat vertical bark. You're slow, painfully slow. Slower than your usual snail's pace. You're a sitting duck, a furry, green, slow-moving target. With every foot you descend, the world changes. The air becomes cooler, heavier, more still. The bright, blurry grey-green of the canopy fades above you, replaced by the deep, dark, terrifying browns of the understory. The smells change. You're leaving the fresh, leafy air and descending into the rich, overpowering scent of decay. You smell damp earth, rotting wood, pungent fungi, and the sharp, coppery tang of something else, something predatory. You're halfway down. Only 50 feet to go. You freeze. Your dull hearing, your poor vision, they are useless. But you feel a vibration in the trunk. Something is moving. Down there. Something fast. You remain perfectly, utterly still, a lump of moss on the bark. You hold your breath, which you can do for a surprisingly long time. You wait. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10. The vibration is gone. It was probably just an agouti, a large nervous rodent. Probably. You continue. Down, down, down. Finally, your front claws touch something that isn't wood. It's soft, it's spongy, it's the ground. You have arrived. The forest floor is an alien planet. It is a landscape of giant roots, rotting leaves, and a million scurrying, skittering, fast things. You're an astronaut, clumsy in your spacesuit, on a hostile world. You're colourblind, half-deaf, and your top speed is 6 feet a minute. You are, in this moment, the most vulnerable creature in the entire rainforest. But the urge is overwhelming. You cannot wait. You crawl, awkwardly, your belly dragging on the leaf litter, to the exact base of your home tree. You will not defecate just anywhere. You must return to this specific spot, and then you do something truly remarkable. This is the quirky tidbit of your weekly ritual. You brace yourself against the trunk and you begin to wiggle. You rotate your hips, digging your stubby rudimentary tail into the soft earth, carving out a shallow, small depression. You are doing a poo dance. It's a slow, rhythmic, almost ritualistic shimmy, a behaviour that no scientist can fully explain. You are clearing a spot. Then you go. And it is not a small event. This is the mainstream biological fact that astounds researchers. You are emptying a week's worth of digested, fermented leaves. It is an enormous, almost comical pile of small, hard, dry pellets. You can lose up to 1/3 of your entire body weight in this single moment. You're a lighter, emptier, and slightly less green creature than you were 5 minutes ago. But you are not alone. Remember those moths? The cryptoses that live in your fur, your personal fluttering companions. This is their moment. As you defecate, your fur, which is pressed against the tree trunk, comes alive. The moths, sensing the chemical change, the specific, irresistible aroma of fresh sloth dung, pour out of your fur. They swarm, a small grey cloud landing on the fresh, warm pile of pellets. This is what they have been waiting for. This is their nursery. They frantically lay their eggs in your dung, the only place in the world their larvae can survive. This is the great, bizarre, codependent mystery of your life. Scientists are still debating whether this incredible risk, this weekly descent into mortal peril, is worth it. Why do you do it? Why not just poop from the trees? One theory suggests it's a form of communication. The pile of dung at the base of your tree is a scent mark, a chemical you are here sign for other sloths. In your slow, solitary world, this may be the only way to find a mate, a problem we'll get to later. But another, more recent and wonderfully complex theory ties everything together: the moths, the algae, and the poop. The theory goes like this. You risk your life to deliver the moths to their breeding ground. The moths lay their eggs, the larvae eat the dung, pupae, and the new adult moths fly up into the canopy to find a sloth, to find you. They live and, crucially, die in your fur. As they decompose, their bodies release a burst of nitrogen and other vital nutrients. This fertilizes the algae. Remember the Trichophilus? This influx of nutrients makes the algae in your fur grow thicker, richer, and greener. And this, in turn, makes your camouflage more effective. You are, in essence, risking your life once a week to go to the bathroom, so that you can provide a taxi service for moths, who then die on you and turn your fur into a more vibrant garden, which makes you harder to see. It is the most absurd Rube Goldberg machine of a survival strategy in the entire animal kingdom. Your ritual is complete, the urge is gone, the moths are nesting, but the terror is not over. Now you must go back up. You're a third lighter, but you're also exhausted. The climb down, the dance, the event. It has cost you dearly. You turn, your belly scraping the dirt, and find the trunk. You begin to climb. Up, up. It is a vertical marathon. Every pull is an effort. You are exposed. You are slow. You smell like a target. This is when the ocelot, the jaguar, the taira, this is when they find you. But not today. Today you are lucky. After an agonizingly long time, your claws find a familiar horizontal branch. You roll with a grunt of relief back into your proper upside-down position. You're home. You're high. You're safe. You hang, breathing slowly, your heart, which beats at a slow, steady 75 beats per minute, returning to its baseline. You're an empty, tired, but very much alive sloth. You find a leaf. You begin to chew. The 30-day clock has started again. You are safe. You are back in your Cecropia tree, your upside-down fortress, 100 feet above the dangerous hostile ground. You have performed your weekly, perilous ritual and survived. You are lighter, you are empty, and now you are hungry. You have found a patch of sun, that blurry grey-white warmth that filters through the leaves. You are basking, your reptilian mammalian body soaking in the energy. Your gut bacteria, sluggish from the cool night air, are warming up, ready to begin the 30-day marathon of digesting the new leaf you have just started to chew. This is your life. It is slow. It is simple. It is green. You're perfectly camouflaged, a stinking, mossy, unappetizing lump of fur. You have mastered survival by being beneath notice. You have no predators, you think. The danger is the ground, the ocelots, the jaguars, That is what you must avoid. The sky. That formless, bright expanse above you is just the sky. It is the source of light. It is the source of rain. It is a non-thing. You're catastrophically, fatally wrong. Your poor vision, your colourblind, blurry grey world is your greatest evolutionary blind spot. You cannot see the shape, a mere half-mile away, perched on the crown of a giant kapok tree that punches through the canopy. You cannot see it because it is also still. It is a master of patience, just like you. But where your patience is a defensive metabolic necessity, its patience is offensive. It is the patience of an assassin. This is the Harpy Eagle, Harpia harpia, and it is quite possibly the most powerful eagle on the planet. This is not a bird of the open plains soaring on thermals. This is a mainstream biological fact. The harpy is a forest eagle, built to hunt inside the jungle. Its wings are shorter than a bald eagle's, but incredibly broad, allowing it to maneuver with shocking agility between the massive tangled branches. It does not circle. It perches, it watches, and it waits. And its eyes are the complete and terrifying antithesis of yours. While you squint to make out a branch 5 feet away, the harpy has telescopic binocular vision 8 times sharper than a human's. From its perch, it can see a creature the size of your head from over a mile away. It sees the canopy not as a green blur, but as a high-definition, full-colour mosaic. It sees the red flash of a macaw. It sees the nervous twitch of a monkey's tail. And it sees you. It sees your green-tinged fur. It sees the faint, slow, rhythmic movement of your jaw as you chew. It has been watching you for an hour. It saw you make your clumsy, dangerous descent to the forest floor. It saw you climb back up, and it has been waiting, patiently, for you to settle. You perceive nothing. Your muffled ears hear only the jungle's ambient hum. The eagle, launching from its branch, makes no sound. Its massive wings are fringed with soft, serrated feathers that muffle the sound of air, rendering its flight almost supernaturally silent. The first and only warning you will ever get is not a sound. It is a shadow. The patch of warm, bright light on your fur blinks. It goes dark. A shadow, impossibly vast, impossibly fast, rushes over you. This is not the slow, soft-edged shadow of a passing cloud. This is a hard, sharp, predatory eclipse. Your body, your ancient reptilian hindbrain, reacts before your tiny, slow cortex can even form a thought. The only thought your body has is freeze. You stop chewing. Your jaw locks, half open. You stop breathing. Your renegade organs, remember them, held in a state of suspended animation. You become, in less than a second, a perfect inanimate object. You're a mossy branch. You're a termite nest. You're a lump of fungus. This is your only defense. You're gambling your entire existence on the hope that the eagle, fooled by your stillness, will mistake you for a part of the tree and move on. But the shadow does not move on. It stops. You hear a sound that penetrates your auditory fog. It is a heavy, scraping thud, the sound of something powerful and heavy landing on a branch. Not your branch, a neighbouring one, perhaps 40 feet away. Through your blurry vision, you see a shape. It is huge, a dark grey mass against the bright white-grey sky. It is as tall as a 4-year-old child. It moves. It turns its head. It is your neighbour. Another brown-throated sloth, hanging just as you are, frozen in the same primal terror. And then, behind your neighbour, another shape lands. The eagle. It is magnificent and terrifying. Its head is crowned with a crest of dark feathers, which it can fan out like a radar dish to focus sound. Its face is a pale grey, and its eyes are a piercing, intelligent, nightmarish yellow. It turns its head in that same unsettling 270-degree rotation that you possess, and it looks at your neighbour. The eagle hops, a single, powerful leap from its branch to your neighbour's, and then you see the talons. This is the quirky or fringe tidbit, the fact that separates the harpy from all other hunters. Its talons are the largest of any eagle on Earth. The rear talon, the hallux, is over 5 inches long. This is longer than the claws of a fully grown grizzly bear. It is a living meat hook, a steel trap, and it is attached to a foot that can exert hundreds of pounds of pressure per square inch. The harpy eagle does not bite its prey. It does not slash or peck. It simply grips. The talons, all four of them, sink deep into your neighbour. There is no fight. There is no chase. There is a single high-pitched, terrifying shriek, a sound you, yourself, have made when you were a baby, a sound you may make again, once. The sound is cut short. The talons, longer than your own claws, have punched through fur, hide and muscle, and have crushed the skull or severed the spinal cord. It is an instant, hydraulic, mechanical death. Your neighbour, in death, is still clinging to the branch. Its entire life has been about holding on, and its muscles are now locked in a final, defiant grip. But the eagle's strength is absolute. It pulls, it rips the sloth from the branch, the sound of splintering wood and something else, echoing through the quiet canopy. The eagle, now holding a 10-pound sloth, a creature of your exact size and shape, as if it were a rat, launches itself from the branch. The whoosh of its wings is a physical force, a gust of wind that rustles the leaves of your tree, and then it is gone. The entire event, from the first shadow to the disappearance, took less than 30 seconds. You do not move, you remain a statue. You will stay like this for an hour, maybe two. The sun will move, and your patch of warmth will leave you, and your body will grow cold, but you will not move. You have just learned the most profound lesson of your life. The ground is dangerous, but the sky is death. The sky is a doorway from which silent, bear-sized claws can emerge at any moment and simply erase you. Scientists are still debating whether the Harpy Eagle is a true sloth specialist. Its diet is known to include monkeys, macaws, and other tree-dwelling mammals, but one theory suggests that you are its perfect preferred meal. A monkey is fast, agile, and bites. A monkey can fight back. You can only freeze. You are the ideal low-risk, high-reward, slow-moving protein bar for a predator that has mastered the art of the ambush. You will never ever feel safe in the sun again. Every shadow that passes, every sudden change in the light, will send a jolt of pure, cold adrenaline through your slow-moving blood. The fear is now a permanent part of your wiring. You're being hunted from above. Slowly, so slowly your movement is almost imperceptible. You open your mouth. You resume chewing your leaf. You must eat. Life, no matter how terrifying, must go on. You hang, a statue of terror, for what feels like an entire day. The sun moves, your basking spot goes cold, and your body temperature begins to drop, but you do not move. The memory of the Harpy Eagle, that silent, encompassing shadow, the shriek, the sheer hydraulic violence of the grip, is now the single most important file in your tiny, slow brain. The sky is a lie. The sunlit canopy is not a roof. It is an exposed, indefensible hunting ground. Over the next few days, you find yourself instinctively changing your habits. You favour the lower branches. You move deeper into the tangled, suffocating web of lianas and vines, seeking a ceiling. You crave a layer of green, something, anything between you and that horrifying, open grey-blue. But this new, cautious strategy creates a new, ancient fear. You're closer to the ground, and the ground is where the other monsters live. A week passes, the internal biological clock ticks, the pressure builds. The leaf you ate the day your neighbour was erased has finished its long, slow journey. It is time. That dreaded, non-negotiable weekly appointment is here. And now, the dread is a terrible, paralysing equation. To get to the ground, which is owned by the cats, you must first expose yourself on the vertical trunk of the tree, which is visible from the sky, owned by the eagle. Your entire life is a strategic nightmare, a choice between two different, but equally final, methods of execution. You are in every way stuck between a rock and a hard place, except the rock is a jaguar, and the hard place is a Harpy Eagle. With a profound metabolic sigh, you begin the ritual. You perform the clumsy right-side-up roll, your belly down on the branch, your movements awkward, your energy draining. You begin the headfirst descent. Every shadow that flits across the bark, a leaf, a small, harmless toucan, makes your heart, that slow 75 BPM metronome, skip. You freeze, you wait, you continue. You're a bright, moss-green, 10-pound advertisement of your own vulnerability, nailed to the side of a tree. Finally, after an eternity, your claws touch the soft, damp leaf litter. You're on the alien planet. The air here is thick, still, and reeks of decomposition. You're at your absolute nadir, the lowest point of your life, both literally and figuratively. You are a creature of the canopy, a master of hanging, and you are now forced to crawl. Your belly drags in the mud. Your magnificent hook-like claws, so perfect for branches, are useless here. They are like ice skates on gravel. You are clumsy. You are pathetic. You are a furry green victim just waiting to happen. You scramble to the base of your tree. You perform your ritual, the quick, nervous poo dance. Remember that? Clearing your small patch of earth. You are exposed, your head down, your attention on your business. You are a perfect target. You do not see the ocelot, you do not hear it. It has been watching you since you were 20 feet up the trunk. It has been crouched in the undergrowth, a 10-pound, perfectly camouflaged ghost, a miniature leopard built for this exact kind of ambush. Its eyes, unlike your blurry, colourblind ones, are precision instruments of the forest floor designed to pick up the slightest movement in the gloom. Your clumsy, rustling descent was a dinner bell. You finish. You are a third lighter. You turn, your slow brain focused on one thing. Up. And the ghost moves. It is a blur of rosette spots. In the half second it takes your brain to register shape. The ocelot has crossed the 10 feet of leaf litter. It doesn't roar. It doesn't hiss. It simply arrives. It leaps onto your back and you feel a flash of hot, searing, unbelievable pain. Its needle-sharp claws sink deep into your rump. This is not the crushing instant death of the eagle. This is the tearing, slashing, biting death of a cat. You do the only other thing you know how to do. You shriek. It is a high-pitched, piercing, desperate "Ah-hee!" that cuts through the jungle hum. The sound is so sudden, so loud from a creature so quiet that it startles the ocelot. It loosens its grip for a split second, confused by this wailing, moth-filled, algae-stinking creature. That second is all you have. You do not fight, you flee. But fleeing for you is not running. It is hooking. You lunge, your front arms extended, and your claws find the bark of your home tree. You pull with all the specialized locked tendon zip-tie strength you possess. The ocelot's claws tear free from your hide, ripping out a chunk of fur and skin. You are bleeding, you are terrified, but you are on the trunk. The ocelot, furious, hisses and swipes again, a flash of claws that rakes your dangling back leg. But you're just out of reach. You climb. You climb with a surge of adrenaline, a hormone your body barely knows how to produce. Your blood sings with a hot, fast chemical panic. You do not stop. You do not look back. You climb 50, 60, 80 feet, until you are back in the familiar blurry green. You hang trembling, your wound a hot wet patch on your back. You are alive. You have learned. The ground is not just dangerous, it is pain. But the ocelot is just the welcoming committee. Weeks pass. Your wound slowly heals. Your fur, fertilized by a new generation of moths, remember them, grows over the scar. The rainy season arrives. The forest floor below is now a shallow, muddy swamp. The rivers have risen, and the world is damp. You hang, chewing, having survived both the sky and the ground. You are wrong. This brings us to the mainstream biological fact of the true king of this domain, the jaguar, Panthera onca. The jaguar is not just a cat. It is the apex predator of the Americas. It is a 300-pound monster of muscle and stealth, and it has the most powerful bite force, relative to its size, of any big cat on Earth. It does not kill. With a suffocating neck bite, it kills by crushing. Its quirky tidbit is that it often dispatches prey with a single, skull-piercing bite to the brain. And unlike the ocelot, it is not afraid of water. It is an excellent swimmer. A detail that is about to become horrifyingly relevant. It is night. You are asleep in your low-hanging, safe branch. You are awakened by a sound. A heavy splash? No. A sound that does not belong. The sound of a heavy, wet body shaking itself dry. It's coming from the base of your tree. You turn your head, that slow 270-degree swivel. In the pale, grey moonlight, your blurry eyes see a shape. It is massive. It is spotted. It is a jaguar, fresh from a swim, water dripping from its rosettes. It looks up. You cannot see its eyes, but you know with ancient cellular certainty that it is looking right at you. Scientists are still debating whether jaguars, which are primarily ground hunters, actively hunt sloths by climbing. One theory suggests that for a cat of its size, climbing 100 feet for a 10-pound low-fat, algae-flavoured meal is a foolish waste of energy. They must just be opportunistic, grabbing you when you make your weekly idiotic descent. This theory is of no comfort to you, because this jaguar is climbing. You watch in absolute frozen horror. This is not the fast, frantic scrabble of the ocelot. This is power. The jaguar moves up the trunk like a living tank. Its massive claws, which can puncture a caiman's hide, find purchase in the bark. It is not clumsy. It is not awkward. It is an apex predator, and it has decided that your world is also its world. It is 30 feet below you. 20. 10. You can smell it now. A thick animal reek of wet fur, river mud, and raw meat. It is on the branch below you. It gathers its colossal haunches. It is preparing to leap. This is the end. You are saved by architecture. The branch you're on is a thick, stable, living limb. The branch the jaguar is on is old, dead, and waterlogged. As the jaguar tenses, putting its full weight onto the branch, there is a sound like a gunshot. Crack! The branch groans and splinters. The jaguar, its 300-pound bulk betrayed by rotten wood, flinches, its balance lost. It snarls, a low, coughing, terrifying grunt that vibrates in your bones. Its element of surprise is gone. It is annoyed. It looks up at you, a 10-pound snack that is now just too much trouble. With a grunt of pure, feline disgust, it controls its fall, lands heavily on a lower branch, and with terrifying ease climbs back down. Your left trembling, your blood ice cold. The lesson is complete. The sky is death. The ground is death. And now you know, with chilling certainty, that the trees themselves are not safe. You are a slow, blind, 10-pound pacifist, living in a 3-dimensional war zone. You have nowhere to run, and you realise nowhere to hide. You are, in a word, traumatised. The memory of the jaguar's snarl, the sound of that crack of rotten wood is a fresh, cold terror in your mind. You have survived the sky, the Harpy Eagle, and you have, by sheer stupid luck, survived the ground, the ocelot and the jaguar. You have learned the single, defining lesson of your life. You're a slow, soft, 10-pound snack in a 3-dimensional war zone where everything, above, below, and in the middle, is a hunter. Your response to this is to double down on your core strategy. You become more still. You become more invisible. You move only when you absolutely must, to a new leaf cluster, or on that dreaded weekly suicidal quest to the forest floor. You're a solitary, mossy, 10-pound knot of pure low-grade anxiety. You're a masterpiece of not being perceived. And then a new feeling begins. It is not hunger. Your multi-chambered stomach, remember that 30-day fermenting vat, is, as always, full. It is not fear. That is now just your baseline, your emotional white noise. This is something new. It is a deep, internal hormonal itch. It is an insistent chemical restlessness that you cannot ignore. A new, ancient script is running in your code, and it is in direct, terrifying conflict with your primary survival strategy. Your strategy: be silent, be invisible, do not move. The new imperative: be found. You are a female, several years old, and you are in estrus. Your body is telling you in its slow, undeniable biological language that it is time. It is time to find a mate. It is time to create another tiny, colourblind creature that will have to learn all of these same horrifying lessons. This is a logistical nightmare. You live in a single tree. Your eyesight is so poor you cannot make out the next tree over, let alone a potential mate in that tree. You're slow. He is slow. The chances of you just bumping into each other are statistically 0. A needle in a haystack is a simple problem compared to this. You are 2 needles in 2 different, very large, very green haystacks, and you are both blind, moving at 6 feet a minute, and desperately trying to avoid being eaten. So how do you find each other? You must abandon your silence. You must do the one thing that your terror-filled brain is screaming at you not to do. You must advertise. You feel the urge build in your chest. You open your mouth, you take a deep, slow breath, and you shout. It is the most unsloth-like sound imaginable. It is not a gentle coo. It is not a soft grunt. It is a loud, piercing, high-pitched shriek. Ah-ha! The sound is shockingly powerful. It cuts through the humid, heavy air, echoing for perhaps up to a mile. It is, you may recall, the exact same horrifying sound your neighbour made as the Harpy Eagle's talons crushed its spine. It is the sound of pure mortal terror, but this time it is not a death cry. It is a long-distance call. You are, in the most desperate way possible, swiping right on the entire jungle. This is the mainstream biological fact of your romantic life. Female three-toed sloths in estrus scream to attract a mate. You are broadcasting an audible 1-mile radius beacon that says, "Here I am, a slow, 10-pound, defenceless, moss-covered meal. Come and get it." This is, as you can imagine, a terrible idea. You are screaming for a mate, but who else is listening? The Harpy Eagle, whose hearing is as sharp as its telescopic eyes. The ocelot now napping at the base of a nearby tree. The jaguar padding silently through its territory. You are ringing the dinner bell for every predator in a 1-mile radius, all for the desperate biological hope that the one creature you want to hear it, a male sloth, hears it first. You let out your shriek. The sound hangs in the air and then vanishes, swallowed by the infinite green. And now, you wait. You are a nervous, lovesick, 10-pound target, waiting for a response. You wait for an hour, nothing. You wait for 2. You chew a leaf, your tiny brain buzzing with a mixture of hormones and terror. You wait. You scream again. Ah! Louder this time, a little more desperate, and you wait. A quarter-mile away, in a different, equally magnificent cecropia tree, a male sloth is dozing. He is just like you, mossy, slow, stinking, and half blind. He hears your call. It cuts through his metabolic haze, the only sound in the world that matters. He turns his head, that slow, 270-degree swivel, and tries to pinpoint the source. That way, and he begins. This is not a story of a dashing suitor. He does not swing heroically through the vines. He does not race to your side. He unhooks one arm. He reaches. He thunks onto the next branch. He has begun his journey. A quarter-mile journey, at 6 feet a minute. It will take him days. It may take him a week of non-stop perilous travel, crossing from the canopy of one tree to the next, or, God forbid, descending to the ground to cross a gap. You, in the meantime, must keep broadcasting. You shriek once every hour or so for the next 3 days. You are exhausted. You have attracted 2 very curious toucans who mock you from a safe distance, and you are now certain that the ocelot from last week has moved in permanently at the base of your tree. You are about to give up. This whole process seems so inefficient, so ridiculously dangerous. Scientists are still debating whether this screaming is the only way you communicate. One theory suggests that the real dating app is that weekly, perilous descent to the forest floor. Remember your poo dance. The theory goes that your dung pile and the urine you leave with it is a complex chemical signature. It's a scent mark, a profile that says, female, healthy, in this tree. A passing male on his own weekly descent might smell it, look up, and realise this is the tree he needs to be in. The scream, in this case, might just be the final confirmation. Yes, I'm still here. Top floor, come on up. On the 4th day, you are dozing, your throat raw. You are awakened by a familiar sound. Thunk. It's the sound of a claw hooking onto wood, but it's not your claw. You turn your head. A blurry, grey-green, slow-moving shape is on your branch. It's not you, it is him. He is magnificent. Which is to say, he is exactly like you. He is mossy, he smells like a swamp, and his fur is probably full of moths. But he has one feature you lack. This is the quirky or fringe tidbit that sets him apart. A patch of fur on his back, a speculum, which is a startling bright orange-yellow, with a dramatic black stripe down the middle. It's his one tiny piece of flair, his racing stripe. It's hidden most of the time, but as he moves you catch a blurry flash of not green. It is the most exciting, least green thing you have ever seen. He moves toward you, slowly, glacially. This is not a passionate, fiery romance. This is an administrative meeting. He reaches you. He sniffs you. You sniff him. You both smell correct. He is a sloth. You are a sloth. The paperwork appears to be in order. There is no courtship display. There is no dance. He does not bring you a gift of a particularly nice leaf. Why waste the energy? You're both hanging upside down as you have been your entire lives. He maneuvers himself with clumsy, slow-motion grace over and around you. You lock your claws into the branch, bracing yourself, and in the most awkward, unphotogenic and physically baffling display in the animal kingdom, you mate, upside down, 100 feet in the air. Gravity, as always, is your constant, uninvited companion. The entire event lasts maybe 10-15 minutes. It is, like everything else in your life, slow, silent, and purely functional. And he's done. He doesn't cuddle. He doesn't ask for your number. He doesn't stick around for a postcoital leaf. The biological imperative is complete. His job is over. He turns around with that same agonizing slowness. He unhooks one arm. He reaches, and he begins his week-long journey back to his own tree. You will never see him again. You are alone once more, hanging in your tree, but you are no longer just you. A new 30-day digestive process hasn't just started. A 6-month one has. A new microscopic life is beginning, and you, a creature who has only ever had to worry about your own grip, are about to become an anchor. He is gone. You are alone, hanging in the blurry green-grey world, but you're not just you anymore. The brief, clumsy, upside-down administrative meeting has been a biological success. A single cell has become 2, then 4, and is now a microscopic, slow-growing cluster, an anchor that has taken root inside you. You are pregnant. This is not a dramatic, glowing, joyful state. It is for you a slow-motion inconvenience. It is an administrative burden. For the next 6 months, you're not just a 10-pound low-energy snack. You're a 12-pound low-energy snack. You are heavier, you are slower, and your center of gravity, the one thing you could always rely on, is beginning to feel wrong. The mainstream biological fact of your pregnancy is its simplicity. 6 months, 1 baby. Your body, running on the fumes of fermented cecropia leaves, cannot possibly afford the energy for twins. It is a single, precious, tiny investment. Your life, which was a solitary equation of survival, now has a new, dependent variable. For the first few months, little changes. You eat. You sleep. Your standard 15 hours. You bask. Your green, algal fur. Remember your fur garden? Soaking up the sun. Trying to warm your blood enough to power your own digestion, let alone this new internal project. You feel perhaps a new kind of tiredness. A profound cellular exhaustion that settles deep in your bones, a tiredness that even 15 hours of sleep cannot touch, and you still have to make the trip. That weekly, horrifying, non-negotiable descent to the forest floor. Now, it is a new kind of terror. You are heavier, clumsier. You perform your 180-degree roll, your belly-down position feeling even more precarious. The pull of gravity is stronger, more insistent. As you climb headfirst down the trunk, you are a target. You're a visibly slower, visibly larger lump of moss. You're the buy one get one free special for the ocelot you know is lurking in the undergrowth. You can feel its eyes on you. Every descent is a gamble, not just with your life, as it was before, but with this second unborn life you carry. You reach the ground, your heart hammering its slow 75 BPM rhythm of dread. You perform your poo dance, that awkward, ritualistic clearing of the leaves. Your moth tenants, remember the moths, stream from your fur to lay their eggs, their entire civilization dependent on this one. Suicidal act of yours. You finish. You are lighter, but the small, dense weight inside you remains. You climb. You climb, your muscles burning with an acid fire they are not designed to handle. You pull your new, heavier body up, foot by agonizing foot, back to the safety of the canopy. You have never felt more vulnerable. Months pass. 3, 4, 5. The new life inside you is no longer microscopic, it is present. You're hanging, half asleep, and you feel a movement. It is not the familiar, slow, gurgling churn of your 30-day digestion. It is a kick, a slow, rolling alien motion under your ribs. It is bewildering. You, a creature of absolute external stillness, are now a vessel for internal uncontrollable movement. The 6th month arrives. The rains are heavy, the air is thick and wet, the feeling inside you changes. The pressure is no longer just weight, it is presence. It is the same kind of non-negotiable biological imperative as your weekly descent. But it is not coming from your gut. It is deeper. It is time. This is it. There is no nest. There is no den. There is no soft, leafy bed. There is just you, the branch, and the air. You're hanging from your thickest, most trusted branch, 100 feet above the dark, wet ground. It is night. The jungle is a wall of sound. The thrum of insects, the chirp of frogs, the drip of water from a million leaves. You grip the branch. You grip it with a strength you did not know you possessed. Your claws are locked. Your tendons are taut. You are an anchor, and you cannot, will not let go. A slow, powerful, muscular wave rolls through your body, a clench. It is unlike anything you have ever felt. You are a creature who avoids all effort, and your body is now performing the most profound, energy-intensive act of its life. You let out a small, quiet grunt. Scientists are still debating whether this is how it always happens. This upside-down, high-wire act of birth seems so ludicrously, suicidally risky. One theory suggests that mothers must, in this one instance, break their lifelong habit, that they find a thick V in the branches and sit upright, bracing themselves to minimize the risk. But observations are almost non-existent. The jungle, at night, in the rain, does not give up its secrets. But you are hanging. Another wave, stronger this time. You feel a sudden, wet release, and something is out. You look down, or rather, you turn your head, that slow, 270-degree swivel, remember your extra neck bones, and look up at your own stomach. A tiny, wet, slimy, grey-furred creature is dangling from you. It is connected by a long, purple-grey umbilical cord. It is a tiny, perfect 10-ounce pendulum, swinging gently, silently, 100 feet above the forest floor. It is your baby. It is born into a world of gravity and grip, and its first test is immediate. This is the quirky or fringe tidbit, the upside-down miracle. The baby is alive, it is blind, it is weak, and it is climbing. It has one job. Before it can breathe, before it can feed, it must climb. Its tiny, perfectly formed hook-like claws find the only rope available, its own umbilical cord. Hand over hand, in a slow, desperate swimming motion, it pulls itself up. It is a race against what? Against its own fading strength, against a sudden gust of wind, against the possibility that your grip, the one thing holding both of you, might fail. You watch, helpless. You are a living platform, nothing more. You cannot reach down to help it. You cannot catch it. Your body is rigid, locked to the branch. You can only hang and wait as this tiny, wet, blind creature climbs its own lifeline. It takes an eternity, maybe 3 minutes. It reaches your fur. It reaches the dense, mossy, stinking, moth-filled jungle of your stomach. And it grips. You feel it. The same reflexive, desperate clutch that you felt the moment you were born. Remember section 1. Its tiny, needle-sharp claws sink into your fur, into your skin. It has found purchase. It is safe. The baby, trembling, scrambles blind across your stomach, guided by pure ancient instinct. It finds your nipple. It latches. Only now do you move. The tension in your body releases. You're exhausted. Your muscles are trembling, but the final task is yours. You bend your head. You find the stringy, useless umbilical cord. You put it in your mouth, and you chew. Your peg-like, grinding teeth, designed for fibrous leaves, sever the connection. The cord falls, a tiny wet scrap spiraling down, down, down into the dark. It is done. You're no longer a solitary creature. You are a world. You're a transport. You're a mobile milk bar and a living, breathing, upside-down hammock. You are, for the first time, a mother. You hang in the dark, in the rain, with a new 10-ounce, 10-clawed life clinging to your chest. And you do the only thing you know how to do. You rest. The tiny, wet, 10-ounce creature clinging to your chest is now your entire world. It is a second, smaller, more fragile grip that you're responsible for. Your life. which was a solitary, high-stakes gamble of stillness and camouflage, is now a partnership. And it is, in every way, harder. You're a mobile home, you're a 24/7, all-you-can-eat milk bar, and you are, as always, hanging upside down. The baby, remember your own birth in Section 1, is a perfect tiny mimic of you. It does nothing but cling. Its entire miniature being is focused on this one task. Its claws are hooked so deeply into your fur that it is, for all practical purposes, a part of your body. You're a living duplex, a two-sloth system. This makes survival complicated. That weekly suicidal descent to the forest floor, remember Section 5, it has a new, terrifying dimension. You're now carrying precious, irreplaceable cargo. You perform your clumsy 180-degree roll, your belly-down position now burdened by a small, squirming passenger. You climb down the trunk, your heart hammering its slow, dreadful 75 BPM rhythm. You are a slow-moving 2-for-1 special for the ocelot, remember him? Or the jaguar that you know is watching. Your vulnerability is absolute. You're not just risking your own life, you're risking the future. And the sky. The sky is no longer just your terror. You are now twice the target. You avoid the sunny open patches of the canopy, the ones the Harpy Eagle, remember that shadow, patrols. You stick to the thick, tangled, leafy interior, even though the leaves are older and tougher. You're sacrificing the quality of your own food for security. You are, against all your slow-moving instincts, a protective mother. For 6 months, this is your routine. You eat, you rest, you descend, you climb, and the creature on your chest grows. It is no longer 10 ounces, it is 3 pounds, it is 5. It is a heavy, fur-covered, milk-drinking apprentice. And then, just as it happened with you, remember Section 3, the milk stops being enough. The baby, which is now almost half your size, is clinging to you, but it is also watching you. Its blurry grey-green colourblind eyes see your jaw, see that slow, rhythmic grinding motion. It watches you reach out, thunk, and pull a cecropia leaf to your mouth. And it feels curiosity. No, it feels hunger. It unhooks one of its tiny, perfect claws from your fur. It reaches. This is the moment. It is a slow, profound, generational echo. Its claws hook a leaf. It pulls it clumsily to its own mouth. It bites, and you watch as it experiences for the first time the leaf eater's curse. You watch it chew and chew, its face a tiny mask of confusion. This is not milk. This is tough, bitter, and tastes like poison. But you are eating it. So it swallows. The torch has been passed. The cycle is continuing. But it's more than just a shared meal. This is the mainstream biological fact of your inheritance. Your baby, by clinging to you, by mouthing your fur, by being exposed to your saliva and your presence, is being inoculated. It is inheriting your specialized internal gut flora, that microscopic fermenting army in your stomach. It is receiving the only thing that will allow it to survive on the leaves of this specific tree. You are not just giving it food, you are giving it the key to the food. The baby begins to explore. It makes its first, terrifying, independent grip on the branch next to you. It hangs, just as you did, a tiny living bridge between you and the tree. Slowly, over the next few months, it will spend more time hanging beside you than on you. You're no longer a mobile home, you are a neighbour. This is a precarious time. The blurry, slow world is confusing. This brings us to a quirky or fringe tidbit, the misclutch. On rare occasions, a baby sloth, in its clumsy, half-blind explorations, will accidentally grab onto the wrong sloth. A male, perhaps, or another female, moving slowly along a neighbouring branch. The baby, mistaking it for mom, will happily transfer. This is a slow-motion kidnapping, and it is almost always a death sentence. The new parent, having no biological imperative to care for this random clinging burden, will simply ignore it, and the baby, without milk, will slowly fade. You, however, are a passively good mother. You move slowly, you don't make sudden changes. Your baby stays with you. It is now 9 months old. It is, for all practical purposes, a fully functional miniature you. It eats leaves, it has your algae, remember the fir garden? It probably has your moths, and it is hanging independently in your cecropia tree. Your studio apartment is now feeling crowded. You're competing for the same sun-drenched high-quality leaves. The biological script that screamed mate, section 8, and birth, section 9, has one final blunt instruction. Leave. Scientists are still debating whether this final act of motherhood is a conscious, generous gifting of the home range, or a simple, logical abandonment. One theory suggests you are, in effect, bequeathing your most valuable possession, this safe, food-filled tree with its proven escape routes and familiar branches, to your offspring. Another theory suggests you're just annoyed. You're tired of this other sloth eating your leaves. It's the slowest, most passive-aggressive. It's not you, it's me, and this tree isn't big enough for the both of us in the entire animal kingdom. Whatever the reason, the day comes. It is not marked by any ceremony. There is no tearful goodbye. You are hanging on your branch. Your offspring is hanging on its branch 5 feet away, chewing. You unhook your right arm. You reach. Thunk. You hook onto a different branch. You pull. You unhook your left. You just keep going. You do not look back. Your offspring, absorbed in its leaf, its brain, too slow to process. Abandonment barely registers your departure. It has the tree. It has the leaves. It has the gut flora. It is fine. You, meanwhile, are on your own great perilous journey. You're moving to a new home range, a new tree, perhaps 100 yards away. You will have to cross branches, maybe even descend to the ground to find a new unoccupied cecropia. You're a slow-moving, experienced empty nester. You find your new tree. It is adequate. The leaves taste slightly different. You find a comfortable high branch. You hang. You are once again a solitary island. You are just you. The 6-month, high-stakes, double-occupancy project is complete. Your genetic code has been passed on. Your job is done. You find a leaf. You chew. You rest. Your new cecropia tree is fine. The leaves are suitably bitter. The branches are thick. You have found a new patch of sun, a new high-altitude nook where the lianas and vines, remember your fear of the Harpy Eagle, create a dense, reassuring, leafy ceiling. You are alone again. The 6-month biological errand of motherhood, section 10, is complete. The brief, terrifying, hormonal chaos of finding a mate, section 8, is as distant memory. You have returned to your default state. You have returned to the true high art of your species, the art of doing nothing. This is your mastery, this is your life's work, and it is, despite what it looks like, a full-time job. Your daily routine is not a schedule, it is a metabolic state. It is governed not by a clock but by the sun, and by the slow 30-day clock of your own gut. Remember that internal compost heap? Your day begins, as it always does, with the cold. You're not like a human, or a dog, or a monkey, a furnace of self-generated warmth. You are, in this way, more like a lizard. The mainstream biological fact that governs your life is your low, fluctuating body temperature. At night, in the damp, cool air, your core temperature has plummeted. You have been in a state of mini-hibernation, a reptilian torpor. Your blood is thick and slow. Your gut bacteria, the tiny army that digests your food, has all but shut down. You are in this cold pre-dawn state, barely alive. You're a furry, green, 10-pound paperweight, and then the light changes. Your blurry, colourblind eyes register a shift from black to grey. The sun is rising. Now, the work begins. You must move. You unhook one arm, your muscles stiff, your body heavy and cold. You pull, you unhook the other. You begin an agonisingly slow, 10-foot journey from your cold, sheltered sleeping branch to a sunbeam. You find the spot, a single, bright, blurry shaft of white-grey light. You hang motionless in this patch of sun, and you bask. You are a solar-powered mammal. You are a lizard in a sloth's fur coat. You hang there for an hour, 2 hours, soaking the energy directly into your skin. You're not just warming your body, you're warming your stomach. You're jump-starting your gut flora. You are in effect preheating the oven so that you can begin the day's baking. Finally, you are warm. Your blood is moving. You feel the first, faint, familiar, gurgling shift deep in your belly. The factory is open for business. Now, you can eat. You reach, thunk, pull a leaf. You begin to chew. You will spend the next several hours in this one sunny spot, engaged in the two activities that define your existence, resting and munching. You chew a leaf, then you rest for 20 minutes digesting. You turn your head, that slow 270-degree swivel, remember your extra neck bones, and scan your blurry, formless world. You chew another leaf, you rest. You're the epitome of low power mode. And this is where the human world has gotten you so wrong. Scientists are still debating whether you are, in fact, lazy. For decades, the myth of the 20-hour-a-day sleeper was the one thing everyone knew about you. This, it turns out, was a slander. It came from observing your cousins in zoos. And why wouldn't you sleep all day in a zoo? You have no predators. Your food is delivered to you, pre-cut and delicious. You have no reason to be awake. You are, in that environment, a creature of profound existential boredom. But here, in the wild. One theory suggests, or rather new research using tiny EEG recorders and accelerometers has shown, that your reputation is undeserved. You don't sleep 20 hours, you sleep 9, maybe 10. You're asleep for no longer than the average exhausted human after a long week at the office. So what are you doing with the other 14 hours? You're resting. You're vigilant. You're not moving. This is a critical distinction. You're not asleep. You're in a state of profound, meditative, low-energy awareness. You're hanging, motionless, but your dull ears are straining. You're listening for the swoosh of the Harpy Eagle's wings, Section 6. You're sniffing the air for the wet fur and mud smell of the climbing jaguar, Section 7. You're a master of stillness, yes, but it is not the stillness of sleep. It is the stillness of an ambush predator, except in reverse. You are the ambushee. You're a creature whose entire survival depends on not being perceived. You are playing the world's slowest, highest stakes game of statues. And while you are playing, your fur is hard at work. Your fur garden, remember Section 4, is in full bloom. You're a mature, established ecosystem. The algae, Trichophilus welkeri, is a thick, vibrant green, fertilized by the decomposing bodies of the sloth moths, remember them, that live, die, and are born in your fur, all thanks to your weekly perilous poop journey, Section 5. Your camouflage is perfect. You're a living, breathing, stinking patch of lichen. But this brings us to the quirky or fringe tidbit, the true masterstroke of your art. Your fur is not just your camouflage, it is your snack bar. You are hanging in your vigilant, false sleep. You feel a familiar, low-grade itch, a tickle from a beetle perhaps. You turn your head slowly, and you lick. You draw your tongue over your own shoulder, grooming the dense, damp fur. But you're not just grooming, you are eating. That green algal film that coats your fur, it is incredibly, wonderfully nutritious. It is packed with lipids, fats, and other complex nutrients. Your diet of bitter, toxic, fibrous leaves is a starvation diet. It has no fat. It has almost no calories. It is the fuel of a tiny, slow-burning furnace. But this algae, this is rocket fuel. This is the fatty, caloric-rich supplement that your body craves. You are, in the most literal, bizarre sense, a farmer. You cultivate a garden on your own back, fertilized by the moths you provide a taxi service for, and then you harvest it. You are a self-sustaining, self-fertilizing, mobile, hydroponic, supplementary snack. This is it. This is the art of doing nothing, perfected. You have figured out how to get your vitamins without even moving. This is your day, basking to warm the engine, chewing to fill the tank, resting with profound paranoid vigilance, and when you feel the need, licking your own shoulders for a little extra boost. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're a metabolic masterpiece. You're an evolutionary genius hiding in plain sight by pretending to be a plant. You're the master of a life that is, in its own slow, green, upside-down way, absolutely perfect. You're a metabolic masterpiece. You're a self-sustaining, algae-farming, 10-pound creature of profound stillness. As you hang in your blurry green-grey world, a creature of the present moment, you are unaware that you are a whisper. You're the last, quiet, fading echo of a dynasty of giants. Your stillness is ancient. Your slowness is a family trait. But where your slowness is a survival strategy of hiding, your ancestors' slowness was a strategy of dominance. You, a 10-pound, mossy tree hanger, are a refugee. You're the last twig-like branch on a family tree that was once rooted in the earth, a tree of titans that shook the ground when they walked. You carry the genetic memory of Megatherium. This is the mainstream biological fact of your lineage. While you are a folivora, a leaf-eater clinging to a branch, your ancient cousins were megafauna. The most famous, Megatherium americanum, the great beast from America, lived during the Pleistocene epoch, spreading across South America, and it was enormous. Imagine for a moment that you're not 10 pounds. Imagine you're 10,000 pounds. Imagine you're not 3 feet long. Imagine you're 20 feet long, the size of a modern-day elephant but built like a bear. Imagine your fur is not a soft, green, algal-filmed garden, but a thick, coarse, shaggy, 10-inch deep mat. And your claws are perfect 3-inch hooks designed for gripping a branch. Your ancestors' claws were 1.5 feet long. They were not hooks, they were sickles, they were grappling hooks. This was your family. You are a creature of the canopy. They were creatures of the ground. Picture your ancient cousin. It is not hiding in a tree. It is ambling with that same characteristic slow-motion gait across the grassy pampas of what is now Argentina. It is a walking mountain. It is a 10,000-pound tank of fur and bone. It is an apex herbivore, a creature so massive that it simply has no predators. What could hunt it? A pack of Smilodon, the saber-toothed cats. They might try, leaping onto its back, but what could they do? This brings us to the quirky or fringe tidbit of your family's greatness. They found preserved fragments of the skin of your giant ground sloth relatives, and buried within that thick, leathery hide were osteoderms. These are small, pebble-like, bony deposits, like a built-in coat of chainmail just under the skin. Your ancestor was not just a 10,000-pound shaggy tank with foot-long claws. It was an armoured 10,000-pound shaggy tank with foot-long claws. A Smilodon's fangs sinking into that hide would meet a layer of fur, a layer of thick skin, and then a layer of rock. It was almost perfectly invulnerable. You, in your Cecropia tree, live in mortal terror of the Harpy Eagle's talons, remember section 6, and the jaguar's bite, remember section 7. Your ancestor, Megatherium, would have regarded them as annoying. And what did this giant, armoured, slow-moving beast do all day? It ate. Just like you, it was a folivora. It was a leaf-eater, cursed with the same low-energy, fibrous diet. It too must have had a truly colossal, multi-chambered stomach, a fermentation vat that would have made your 30-day digestive cycle, remember that, look like a high-speed process. This was a creature that was at all times 40% stomach, but it didn't just nibble, it didn't just bask, remember section 11? It reared up. Imagine it. This 10,000-pound beast, using its thick, muscular tail as a third leg, a tripod, stands up on its hind legs. It is now 20 feet tall, a 2-story building of fur. It doesn't climb the tree. It reaches into the tree. Its foot-long claws hook onto a massive branch, a branch as thick as your entire body. And it pulls. It doesn't just eat the leaves, it pulls the entire tree down. It fells the tree with its own sheer, brute strength, and then it sits comfortably on its haunches and eats the entire canopy. This was your family's art of doing nothing. It wasn't about hiding. It was about an efficiency of energy so profound that it was easier to demolish the landscape than to navigate it. But was that all they ate? Here, the echoes get darker. Scientists are still debating whether Megatherium was a gentle, peaceful, leaf-eating giant. The evidence is ambiguous. Its jaw, its teeth, they seem perfect for grinding leaves. But those claws, they are weapons. They are meat hooks. One theory suggests your giant ancestor was a kleptoparasite, a bully. It would let the Smilodon pack do the hard work of killing a glyptodon, a car-sized armadillo, and then the 10,000-pound armoured Megatherium would simply amble over. It would rear up 20 feet of shadow and grunt. The saber-toothed cats, faced with this invulnerable, house-sized beast, would have no choice but to abandon their kill. The Megatherium would then sit, use its giant claws to flip the armoured glyptodon onto its back, and use those same claws to scoop out the soft insides. Another, even darker theory suggests it was a specialist hunter, that it would find the burrows of other large mammals, dig them out, and simply eat them. You hang, a 10-pound, leaf-eating pacifist. Your veins, your slow-moving blood, carry the genetic legacy of a 10,000-pound armoured tree-felling potential monster. So what happened? Where did the giants go? They were too big, they were too slow, they were too successful. And then a new predator arrived. A predator that Megatherium had no defence against. A tiny, scrawny, two-legged ape, Homo sapiens. This new creature was small and soft and had no claws or armour. But it was smart. It hunted in groups, it had fire, and it had sharp, pointy sticks. The Megatherium's chainmail armour could stop a Smilodon's fang, but it could not stop a coordinated, intelligent attack from a dozen humans, driving it into a bog or off a cliff, or surrounding it and piercing it with stone-tipped spears. The giants, who had ruled the continent for millions of years, were wiped out in a geological instant. Their invincibility was an illusion. And you? Why are you still here? Because you are the refugee. You are the sole survivor of this fallen dynasty. While your giant, invulnerable, ground-dwelling cousins were being hunted to extinction by the clever, two-legged apes, your other ancestors went up. They abandoned the ground. They abandoned size. They traded strength for invisibility. They traded armor for algae. They found a new world, a new dimension, where the humans couldn't easily get them, and where the jaguars, mostly, wouldn't bother. They climbed into the canopy. They learned to be quiet. They learned to be still. They learned to look like moss. You hang in your Cecropia tree, a living, breathing paradox. You are the last, tiny, successful remnant of a family of failed giants. Your cowardice is your genius. Your laziness is your victory. You are the final, quiet, moss-green echo of a beast that once tore the world apart. You are the quiet, moss-green echo of a beast, a 10-pound pacifist descended from a line of armoured tree-felling giants. Remember section 12. You hang in your Cecropia tree, a master of stillness, a creature who has traded all the world's strength for the genius of being invisible. Your life is a simple, green, vertical line. You are built for the canopy. You are designed to hang. And then, the world dissolves. The rainy season has been relentless. For weeks, the familiar, gentle, misty rain of the cloud forest has been replaced by a deluge. It is not a sound. It is a force. It is a constant, deafening roar that drowns out the hum of insects, the calls of birds, the entire ambient soundtrack of your life. Your blurry, grey-green world has become a smear of just grey. You are high in your tree, 100 feet up, so for the first few days you do what you always do. You hang, you rest. You're a creature of profound reptilian patience. The world is loud and wet and wrong, but it is not, as of yet, your problem. You chew your leaves, you doze, but the world is your problem, because the water is rising. You look down, your head in that slow 270-degree swivel. The forest floor, that terrifying alien planet of ocelots and jaguars, remember section 7, is gone. It is no longer a floor, it is a river. A vast, brown, churning, angry river, choked with debris, branches, and the bodies of less fortunate creatures. And it is rising. Fast. You climb higher into the thinnest, most precarious branches of your Cecropia. But you can't climb higher than the top. The water is now 50 feet high. 70. It is lapping at the lower branches of your home. You're no longer in a forest. You're on a tiny green island in the middle of a new brown ocean. And then, the island moves. You feel a sensation you have not felt since you were a 10-ounce baby, clinging to your mother as she reached for a new branch. Remember section 1, a slow, sickening, terrifying lurch. But this is not a one-arm reach. This is the entire 100-foot multi-ton tree. The ground, saturated, has turned to soup, and your home, your anchor, your entire universe has lost its grip. There is a sound of 1,000 gunshots, a deafening crack and splinter of massive roots tearing free. Your world tilts. It falls. It is the end. You, the Harpy Eagle, section 6, the Jaguar. None of it matters. You're in a falling building. You do the only thing you know how to do. You grip. You hold on, your claws locked, as your entire tree crashes in a slow-motion, colossal splash into the brown, raging water. You're plunged into a world you have never known. It is cold, it is dark, it is fast. Your fur, Your beautiful, stinking algal garden, remember section 4, is instantly totally saturated. You are a 10-pound waterlogged mossy rock, and you are sinking. Your lungs, which can hold a breath for a surprisingly long time, are bursting. Your tiny, slow brain is screaming a single primal command: up. But there is nothing to climb. There is no bark. There is no branch. There is only the cold, swirling, suffocating nothing. You are in a void. So, you do the only thing you know how to do. You climb. You unhook your front right arm from the sinking branch. You reach. You pull. You unhook your left. You reach. You pull. You are in the dark, performing your slow, upside-down, hand-over-hand crawl. You are climbing the water, and a miracle happens. You're not sinking anymore. You are moving. You break the surface, gasping, your head emerging into the roaring, rainy world. You are floating. How? You are a 10-pound creature, heavy with muscle and bone and a waterlogged fur coat. You should be at the bottom of the river, but you have a secret weapon: your stomach, your massive, multi-chambered, 30-day fermenting vat. Remember section 3. It is, as always, full. It is full of a fibrous, fermenting slurry of half-digested leaves, and the byproduct of all that fermentation: gas, methane, carbon dioxide. Your gut is a biological balloon, a personal, internal, stinking life preserver. You are, in the most literal sense, a buoyant, moss-covered boy. Now that you are floating, your climb becomes a swim. This is the mainstream biological fact that no one would ever guess by looking at you. You are, it turns to be, an excellent swimmer. You're not clumsy, you're not pathetic, you're hydrodynamic. Your long, powerful front arms, which are clumsy for crawling on land, are perfect oar-like paddles. You pull in a steady, powerful, efficient breaststroke. Your head is held high out of the water, a tiny, impassive, furry snorkel, and you are fast. This is the quirky or fringe tidbit: you are in this moment an Olympian. In the trees, your top speed is 6 feet a minute. On the ground, you're a tragic victim, but in the water you can move 3 to 4 times faster than you can on land. You're a slow-motion Michael Phelps. Your slow twitch, endurance-built muscles, remember section 2, perfect for this. A marathon of relentless, steady pulling. You have lost your home. You're an eco-refugee adrift on a brown churning sea, but you are alive, and you are moving. This new, wet world has its own monsters. A log floats past you. It is not a log. It is a caiman, a South American alligator. Its eyes see your small, furry head, an easy, floating snack. It turns, its tail swishing and lunges, but you're fast, relatively. It snaps at the water where you were a second ago. You have paddled with that steady, powerful stroke just out of reach. You are, for the first time in your life, agile. You swim for hours. Your muscles do not tire. You just pull, pull, pull. Scientists are still debating whether this incredible secret talent is just an emergency use-only skill, a last-ditch evolutionary gamble against the inevitable flood. One theory suggests this is no accident, that you are meant to do this, that the rivers are not just a hazard, they're a highway. Why would a male sloth, remember section 8, spend a week climbing through the canopy, risking the ocelot on the ground, just to cross a 200-foot gap to a new tree, when he can just drop, swim, and climb? You're not just a tree dweller. You're a semi-aquatic canopy specialist. Through the grey, rainy haze, your blurry eyes see it. A dark, stable, non-moving shape. It is a patch of high ground, a stand of trees, an island of survival. You paddle, your arms burning with a cold, steady fire. You reach it. Your front claws, your glorious, life-saving hooks, touch. Mud. A root. You grip. You pull. You have never felt a grip so firm, so real, so safe. You haul your waterlogged, stinking, triumphant body from the brown water. You are a survivor. You are a creature of the trees. You are an echo of giants. And you are, it turns out, an accidental, brilliant swimmer. You find the nearest vertical trunk and you begin to climb. You do not stop until you are high and hanging and home. You are a survivor. You are an accidental, hydrodynamic genius. You have hauled your waterlogged, triumphant, stinking body from the flood. Remember section 13, and you have found a new tree. This is your new home. It is stable, it is high, and the leaves are adequate. The brown, churning water recedes from the forest floor, a slow, muddy exhale. The world dries out. The jungle's ambient, six-legged thrum returns. The world, in its own slow way, rights itself. Your life, your simple, green, upside-down life, resumes. Years pass. How many? You do not know. You're not a creature that measures time in dates, in pasts or futures. You are a creature of cycles. The 30-day cycle of your gut's fermentation. The weekly, terrifying, ritualistic cycle of your descent to the forest floor. Remember Section 5. The 6-month cycle of pregnancy and the 9-month cycle of motherhood, which you have completed 2, perhaps 3 more times. Remember Section 9. The long, slow, seasonal cycle of the heavy rains and the dry, sunny months. You have survived them all, many times over. You are, by the standards of your kind, an elder. A grand, old, mossy green dame of the canopy. You have survived the shadow of the Harpy Eagle, Section 6. You have survived the teeth of the ocelot and the climbing, snarling ambition of the jaguar, Section 7. You have survived the flood. You are perhaps 15, maybe even 20 years old. In your slow, quiet, half-blind world, you are a living, breathing, photosynthesizing success story. But your success has come at a cost. Your body, this perfectly efficient low-energy machine, this masterpiece of stillness, is wearing out. It is not a sudden failure. It is a slow fade. It is a biological equation that is, after 2 decades, finally becoming unbalanced. And it is all happening in the one place you cannot afford, your mouth. You hang in your sunny, familiar spot. You are basking, remember Section 11. Your old cold blood slowly warming. You are hungry, that familiar, dull, biological urge. You reach with that same practiced glacial movement. You thunk. You hook a leaf. You pull it to your leathery lips. You chew, and pain. It is not a loud pain. It is a dull, radiating wrong sensation. A throb. You stop chewing, your jaw half open, confused. Your teeth are the problem. This is the mainstream biological fact of your final decline. Your teeth are not like a human's, or a dog's, or even that jaguar's. You have no hard, protective white enamel. Your teeth are simple, peg-like structures, made of 2 softer yellowish materials, dentin and cementum. They are crucially hypsodont, or ever-growing. They have grown very slowly from the root your entire life. This was the brilliant adaptation to your terrible, abrasive, fibrous diet. Remember the leaf-eater's curse in Section 3? You were in a constant slow-motion arms race. The tough Cecropia leaves would grind your teeth down, and your teeth would slowly, patiently grow back. For 20 years it has been a perfect grinding stalemate. Now the stalemate is broken. The growth is slower. Your body, old and tired, is diverting its pitiful energy reserves elsewhere. But the leaves are just as tough. The grinding is winning. You try again. You chew. The leaf is resistant. Your molars, which should be like rough grinding millstones, are worn. They are flat. They are dull. You're trying to masticate a piece of tough wet leather with a pair of smooth old pebbles. It takes you longer. So much longer. A single leaf, which you once could reduce to a digestible, pulpy slurry in 5 minutes, now takes 15. You must chew and chew and chew. Your jaw aches. Your body is locked in this one simple, repetitive, failed task. You're spending more energy to get the same amount of already pitifully low energy. Your perfect, balanced, metabolic equation, the one that allowed you to survive by doing almost nothing, is finally, irrevocably broken. You are, for the first time in your adult life, operating at a net caloric loss. And there is the pain. This is the quirky or fringe tidbit, the sad final chapter for so many long-lived herbivores. Dental pathology. As your teeth have worn down, they have worn unevenly. A sharp, razor-like spike of dentin has formed on one of your molars. Every time you chew, this spike jabs you. It cuts your cheek. It pokes your tongue. It is a small, constant, hot, internal agony. You, a creature who has only ever known the external, flashing pain of a predator, are now being betrayed. You are being attacked from within. You are hungry. It is a sensation you have not truly felt since you were a baby. waiting for your mother's milk. Remember section 10. It is not the dull biological cue to eat. It is a genuine, hollow, aching emptiness. You're chewing all day, but you're not eating. You're just moving your jaw. The leaf pulp you finally, painfully swallow is not a fine slurry. It is stringy. It is fibrous. It is undigested. It slides into your massive multi-chambered stomach, that 30-day fermentation vat, and your tiny internal symbiotic army is helpless. Your gut bacteria cannot break down these big, tough, unchewed fibers. They too are starving. You are, in the most tragic, sloth-like way possible, starving to death with a full stomach. Scientists are still debating whether this dental failure is the primary cause of old age death in wild sloths. Is it your teeth that fail you, or is it your grip? One theory suggests they are one and the same. In this weakened, starving, caloric deficit state, your body begins to make terrible choices. It begins to consume itself. The first thing to go, your muscle, your 30% less muscle than a cat, your specialized slow-twitch zip-tie tendon muscles, remember section 2, they are, in a word, atrophying. You feel it. You are lighter than you used to be. You have lost weight. Your fur, your beautiful stinking algal garden, remember section 4, is thinner. The vibrant camouflage green is paler. Your moth tenants, remember them, are fewer. Your entire mobile ecosystem is in a state of recession. You're hanging, and you feel a tremble. You reach for a new branch, a simple, automatic, lifelong motion, and your arm, your steady iron grappling hook arm, vibrates. Just a tiny, faint, muscular spasm, a weakness, your grip. The one, holy, foundational, unbreakable rule of your entire life, your first newborn sensation, remember, is getting weaker. You're hanging in your safe, high branch. You're cold. You're cold, even though the sun is out. You cannot bask long enough to get warm. You cannot chew enough leaves to get full. This is how it ends. Not with the sudden, violent punch of the Harpy Eagle. Not with the hot, tearing pain of the jaguar's bite. Not with the cold, swirling panic of the flood. It is an administrative failure. It is a slow, quiet, biological audit. You're a business that is no longer profitable. You're spending more calories on chewing than you are receiving from the leaves. You're a masterpiece of evolution, a survivor, an echo of giants, remember section 12. And you are being defeated after 20 long, slow, successful years by a single, bitter, fibrous leaf. The leaf-eater's curse is finally patiently claiming its due. Your slow fade has begun. That tremble in your grip. It is no longer a rare, alarming event. It is your new constant companion. You hang, but for the first time in your 20-year life, it is not effortless. It is work. The specialized locking tendons in your arms, remember section 2, the zip-tie strength that was your birthright, are failing. The metabolic equation is broken. The calories you aren't getting from the leaves you can't chew, remember section 14, are no longer sufficient to even power the hanging. Your entire life was built on a single brilliant low-energy gamble, and the house is no longer covering its bets. You're so cold. It is a cold that comes from the inside. It is a deep, cellular cold that no amount of basking, remember section 11, can fix. You drag your light, atrophied body to a sunbeam, just as you have done 10,000 times before. You hang in the blurry grey-white light, but it is just light. There is no warmth in it. Your reptilian mammalian body, remember section 3, no longer has the internal furnace to use the sun. Your gut bacteria, your faithful symbiotic army, have gone silent. The 30-day fermentation vat is still. You are, in effect, in a permanent state of torpor, a low, slow, sleepy state from which you are not quite waking up. The hunger is gone, replaced by a profound, hollow emptiness. The pain in your jaw has made you stop trying to eat. The leaf-eater's curse, remember section 3, has finally, patiently won its victory. The very leaves that gave you your evolutionary niche, the toxic, fibrous, low-energy food source that dictated your entire existence, your slowness, your stillness, your camouflage, are the things that are, in the end, slowly, quietly erasing you. The world around you fades. You're no longer vigilant. Your dull, muffled hearing no longer strains. You are, for the first time in your adult life, not scared. You see a shadow, a fast shadow, pass over the canopy. A Harpy Eagle, remember section 6? You do not freeze, you do not react, you simply hang. Fear is a luxury. It is a high-energy emotion, an expensive, life-saving jolt of adrenaline, and you are metabolically bankrupt. You have no more energy to spend on being afraid. A rain starts. It is not the world-ending deluge of the Great Flood, remember section 13? It is a normal, afternoon tropical storm. The wind picks up, the canopy, your entire 100-foot-high world begins to move. Your branch, your familiar, safe home branch, it sways, it bounces, a green living springboard in the howling wind. In your prime, you would have been a perfect, locked, unbothered pendulum. You would have been an integral, unmovable part of the branch. Now, every bounce is a jolt, every jolt is a test, and your grip, you feel a slip. It is not a conscious thought. It is a tiny, wet click of one claw, one hook, popping free from the bark. You are now holding on with 3 limbs. Your light, weak body tilts. A terrible, unfamiliar imbalance. Another, a back leg. It just lets go. You are hanging now by just your 2 front arms. The wind shoves you, a hard, invisible physical blow, and the tremble in your muscles, the long, slow, degenerative weakness. It becomes a final, terminal, muscular release. Your fingers, your magnificent, lifelong, specialized hooks simply uncurl. You let go. It is not a choice. It is not a decision. It is an administrative fact. Your body has at last signed its own release form. You are falling. This is the moment. The one final gravitational no. The single defining terror you have avoided every single day of your 20-year life. You are falling from the sky. You're no longer a part of the canopy. But you do not shriek. Remember section 8. You're too weak. You're too tired. You fall. You're a bundle of moss. You're a 6-pound clump of wet fur and old leaves. You pass the middle branches. You pass the lower, dark, liana-choked limbs. The world is a rushing, vertical green and brown smear. And then, thud. It is not a hard impact. It is a soft, wet, receptive sound. You have landed. You have returned to the alien planet, the forest floor. You are on your back. You are right side up, your belly to the sky, a position you have not been in since your clumsy, weekly, ritualistic poo dance. Remember section 5. The grey, rainy, windswept sky. It is looking down at you. You lie there. You're breathing. Slow, shallow, almost imperceptible huffs. You do not move. You cannot move. You cannot grip. You cannot climb. You are here. The ocelot, the jaguar. Remember section 7? They do not come. The rain has washed your scent and you're too thin, too cold. You do not register as food. You're just another piece of the forest's wet, rotting floor. The rain falls on your face. You feel it. What of your ecosystem? This is the quirky or fringe tidbit. The moths, your faithful, fluttering companions, the civilization of cryptocies that lived, died, and bred in your fur. Remember section 4? They are marooned. This is the end of their world. Trapped in your cooling, damp, grounded fur, they cannot fly in this rain. They cannot find another sloth. Their entire, specialized, codependent life cycle will die with you, here on this patch of mud. Your mobile island, remember section 4, has sunk. Your breathing slows. Your 75 BPM metronome, it misses a beat. And another, it stops. You're no longer an animal. You're a resource. This is the mainstream biological fact of your final act. The sloth fall. You're a sudden, massive, nutrient windfall. The life on you, the algae, the fungi, the moths, dies. But the life around you is about to bloom. The beetles arrive first, scuttling. The ants, a living 6-legged river. The fungi, their white thread-like hyphae, will be the true winners. They will break you down, returning every last hard-won fermented calorie. Scientists are still debating whether this final act is a form of altruism, a final, unconscious gift. One theory suggests that by falling from your home tree, your body provides a massive localized pulse of nitrogen, phosphorus, and all the nutrients your fur garden, remember section 11, collected from the air. You are, in your last act, fertilizing the tree that fed you. You're returning the favour. The echo of the giant Megatherium, remember section 12, is, at last, one with the earth. The circle is complete. You are not a dead animal. You're becoming soil. You're becoming the tree. You are returning to the green. And so, you rest. The rain has softened now, to a gentle, cleansing, misty shush. The jungle's roaring deluge has faded, leaving only the sound of a single, heavy drop of water. Drip, 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 falling from a leaf, high above, 100 feet above. That world of green, that blurry vertical kingdom is no longer your concern. It is a different life, a different story. The work is over. The constant 20-year-long low-grade muscular tension has finally truly faded away. There is no more need to grip. Your claws, your magnificent lifelong hooks are relaxed for the first time. They are no longer holding on. You can just let go. The tremble has stopped. Your muscles are at last at peace. You're no longer hungry. You're no longer cold. The deep, aching pain in your jaw has dissolved into the quiet. You're not a creature anymore. You're not a target. You're simply a stillness. You're a quiet, green, mossy memory, slowly, gently, becoming a part of the warm, wet earth. The great, slow, 30-day clock of your stomach has stopped ticking. The weekly alarm of your perilous journey will not sound again. The fear is gone. You're just a part of the soil, a part of the rot, a part of the deep, rich, complex life of the forest floor you feared for so long. And in this, there is a final, simple, profound peace. Your story is finished. You are home. Sweet dreams.